Welcome to Lagniappe Live, the business spotlight, a space where bold women are seen, real stories are honored, and business is built with purpose. Hosted by Helena Richardson, founder and CEO of HRichnetworks, former NASA IT specialist, digital strategist, and community builder. From New Orleans roots to national impact, Helena brings together technology, storytelling, and service, creating platforms where women lead boldly and communities grow stronger. This is where journeys are shared, voices are amplified, and legacy is built together. I'm so glad you're here. Let's introduce today's guest.
Welcome to Lagniappe Live with Helena, the business spotlight. We are honored to welcome Marissa Lima, a dynamic nonprofit leader with community advocate currently serving as director for the National Kidney Foundation serving Virginia. In her role, she leads strategic fundraising initiatives, donor engagement, corporate partnerships, and signature events that strengthen community impact across the region. Before joining NKF, Marissa served as Senior Development Manager for the American Cancer Society in Memphis, Tennessee, where she led nationally recognized campaigns, including Making Strides Against Breast Cancer and Men Wear Pink. Under her leadership, participation and fundraising revenue doubled, earning regional and national recognition for top performance. In 2025, Marissa received the prestigious Nexstar Broadcasting Remarkable Women Award for Memphis, honoring women who inspire change, lead with purpose, and create lasting impact in their community. Help me give a warm Lagniappe Live welcome to Marissa Lima. Hi, Marissa. How are you today?
Friend, I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to Lagniappe Live with Helena, the business spotlight where connection, clarity, and community come together. Whether you're joining us live or watching the replay, we are so grateful you chose to spend your time with us today. Get ready for a powerful and purposeful field conversation. I'm Helena Richardson, founder of WNC Lagniappe and HRichnetworks, and I'm honored to guide you today in this wonderful conversation. So today I'm so excited that you joined us. I know that you are a dynamic leader who work truly reflects the power and purpose in action. And I also know that you have an incredible impact across healthcare, education, and the arts, which brings vision, leadership, and the heart into every space that you touch. So, Marissa, we are glad you're here today. Welcome to Lagniappe Live.
Thank you so much.
We're going to get started with our first question. Let's dive in. So, from I would say a purposeful impact, you have your work spans healthcare, education, as I said earlier, and the arts. What first sparked the passion for mission-driven leadership, and how has that evolved into the impact you're making today?
Sure, yeah. So, interestingly enough, I didn't start in nonprofit work. I actually, right out of graduate school, had a wonderful job in a C-suite of a Fortune 500 company. I mean, it should have been a dream job. I was writing speeches for the CEO. I mean, I was right in the thick of it, but I was miserable. I mean, I just hated every minute of it. It was retail, and I just couldn't get excited about that, even at that level. I needed a mission, I needed a purpose, and so I left that job and I went into alumni relations with my alma mater, Virginia Tech, my undergraduate alma mater, and that's where I kind of fell in love with this relationship building side of things. And as a result, I've built my whole career on that principle on relationship building. And so I was with Virginia Tech for a while. We moved to Memphis about 25 years ago, well, 26 now. And I took a job with the University of Memphis doing a similar type of work, more on the development side of the house. That's when I went into fundraising. And I just found that mission was so important to me. That's what got me up every morning to go to work. And so I went from higher ed and then went into more directly nonprofit type of work where I worked in a professional theater doing fundraising. Then I went to the American Cancer Society in Memphis. And then just last year, I came back to Virginia, which is home for me, to be close to family. And I, took this job with the National Kidney Foundation. And it's just, that mission is critical to me. That's the first thing I'm going to look for when I'm looking for a job. I mean, obviously pay is important to everyone, but I want to do something where I feel like I'm making an impact. I don't want to sell widgets. I want to affect people directly. So that's just always been an important part of things for me.
Sure. I love that. And that segues into our second question, that connected purpose to action, not just intention. That's what you're talking about. And, you really can hear how, the foundation, your intention has shaped the impact you're making today. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, as a director of the National Kidney Foundation serving Virginia, you led fundraising, partnership, and community engagement. What does effective leadership look like when your goal is not just growth, but real community impact?
I think that goes back to that connection. Connection is key, like real connection. The people I'm serving are facing extraordinary issues, with NKF and ACS. These are life or death issues that people are facing. So I form a connection with that community because it becomes more than a job. You form those connections with the community that you're working in. You find opportunities for collaboration to help them. And it just means more than just work. The people I work for, the people I serve, our clients, our constituents, they become my friends. Some of them become like family. I probably get a little too connected to people sometimes. It's a tough job for an empath because it's tough to see people struggle, especially in the healthcare arena. But everyone I meet is a potential partner in my mission, and so I'm always looking for new ways to connect, new ways to collaborate. It's really about making those connections. Relationships are the foundation of everything I do.
Yes. My heart goes out to what you're saying because I'm the same way. Community is key for me too, because I lost my community. So, I hear your intentionality behind how you approach community. I want to shift a bit into how that transition translate into results. So you've led campaigns that doubled participation and revenue, something many organizations strive for, especially, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, in terms of this economy. What is one key strategy or mindset that shifts that made that level of success possible?
Well, I think you play the long game. It's always about the long game. I'm a strategist just by nature. So I always begin with the end in mind and kind of work backwards to find, my approach to things to build that strategy. And problems are kind of like puzzles. you know, and I enjoy, you know, doing puzzles. So I like to look for a gap in a current strategy, and figure out how to fill that gap. You know, what's missing there? Where is the disconnect? In Memphis, for example, there was a real disconnect with the Hispanic population when I was with the American Cancer Society. Cancer is still considered a taboo subject in that culture. You know, people, there's this idea that if you have cancer, maybe you did something to deserve it. And so they don't talk about it as much. And so I was able to connect with a prominent figure in that community and get her to kind of champion our cause and get the conversation going. And so as a result, that led to some Hispanic media coverage, and we got a conversation happening with that Memphis community, with the Latinx community in Memphis, that we reached a new population. You know, we started a conversation where there hadn't been one. And so, you know, back to the strategy piece. You know, we looked at what's missing, where is the disconnect, and how can we, you know, complete that? How can we form that connection and fill in that gap? So I'm just always looking for strategy. I'm always looking at the long game. And you know, I'm a fundraiser at heart. And when you join an organization, there's always this feeling that you got to get in there and you've got to raise all the money right away. But that's not really how it works. It's about long-term relationships and building trust between people, so that they want to be a part of your mission. They want to invest, you know, time, talent, and treasure. So, you know, it's a long game. It's not something that happens quickly. I'm definitely all about strategy. And so, like with, you know, the great increases we had in attendance and in fundraising, it was about starting very early and just really pounding the pavement, getting out there and being everywhere I could be, you know, so that people saw our mission, knew we were there. I'm, you know, something similar here in Richmond. I'm trying to kind of, you know, strengthen the market for the National Kidney Foundation. And I like to joke that we have an identity crisis because we don't have one. You know, nobody seems to know we exist. And so I'm doing a lot of, okay, how do I fill in those holes where people don't know who we are? How do I get out there and find the people who need to hear about us? So, you know, I'm filling in those holes by, I'll talk to anybody who will stand still long enough, you know, every Rotary group, every church group, anybody who's willing to listen. I'm out there in the community just trying to talk to people and get that conversation going. So, you know, it's about filling in the gaps, building your strategy like that. So
I love that because, you know, I feel your same sentiments on that in, you know, WNC Lagniappe and getting the word out. So like you say, if anybody can just stand still and listen, we're trying to get the word out. You know, we're speaking about that, you know, especially not being we're not a nonprofit. So, you know, that's another thing, you know, in terms of trying to get people to pay it forward, you know, you're looking for ways in which folks can do it, but they have to, you know who you are, you know, just like when you alluded to in the beginning, you know, what a man thinketh, so is he. So if you have that mindset that you can't do it, it won't happen.
right,
So,
of course.
you know, it's wonderful that you were able to connect with someone that will understand their culture and can rally behind them so that the job can get done. Because it's important in terms of healthcare and trying to get people to feel better about themselves and not think, hey, it's taboo because of our culture or our history and so forth. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, sure.
It shows how real your skill strength is in community and trying to get folks to do what it is that they need to do, because that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
It's about taking that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So speaking of next step, let's go on to the next question.
Okay.
Your expertise includes grant writing, communications, and relationship building. Which of these skills do you believe has been the most powerful driving success, and why?
Well, as I was saying, relationships, I mean, they are my business and they're important in any business, but I think especially so in nonprofit work and doubly so in fundraising, you know, because it's more than just networking. It's about trust, it's about collaboration, it's about genuine connection. it's about community building, which is, what you're doing. And, people like Mike King here in Richmond, Anna Sothen, all of those folks who are out there really trying to build community. That is the basis of everything that I do. So it's definitely relationship building. And I found here in Richmond, Richmond is very open. It's very welcoming. People want to collaborate. People want to help. I mean, you could go to a networking opportunity virtually every night of the week here. I've never seen anything like it. But you have to really invest. Like I said, it's not just networking, it's really about building something with someone else. And like I said, every person I meet is a potential partner. I mean, I find partnerships in the craziest places that I would have never expected because, well, like you and I were standing next to each other in a Chesterfield chamber meeting, and I complimented your orange, and here we are. It's just that genuine connection is the basis of everything that I do, and it has to be genuine. People know, they have to believe and trust that you are as invested as you're asking them to be.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah, and like you say, what it really comes down is to outcome, right?
yeah.
It's not about skills that actually driving people to what we do, right? It's clearly that the major thing is part of your success is, like you said, the relationship building, the communication, the authenticity,
Mhm.
showing up.
Yeah.
People look for those things, even when I put the information out, commented on your post for you coming on this show, people were just excited about it and they were responding. So that goes to show you how much the community love you and
No.
the impact that you're bringing to this network, this community, this love, this family, because I think that's the best way to explain it in
Mhm.
terms of community. It's family.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we have two more questions.
Yep.
And let's see. So, being named a 2025 Remarkable Woman of the Year is a powerful honor. What
Was.
does that recognition mean to you personally? And how has it influenced the way you show up as a leader?
Wow. I mean, it was an incredible experience. To be surrounded by more than 100 women, remarkable women from all over the country, all walks of life. My husband nominated me for that award. He's my biggest cheerleader and my biggest supporter. And I definitely experienced some imposter syndrome. We were all out in LA together to celebrate and receive our awards. And there were just women who had been doing things for 30 years, running these amazing programs. And here I was thinking, what am I doing here? Like, why am I here? Because there were just so many amazing women, but it was also very empowering to see what all these women were doing in their communities all over the nation, and such varying projects or commitments. So it was very inspiring. And it reminded me how much women need to lift each other up.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that if we would get out of our own way, we would run the world, because instead of tearing each other down, if we would lift each other up, I mean, gosh, we should be celebrating each other. And that was one of the things the Remarkable Woman experience really reminded me that women can and should be cheerleaders for each other. Um, you know, Good for me or good for you doesn't mean bad for me.
Mhm.
And I think that's something I had to learn. Like joy and success, it's not a finite pie that there are only so many pieces of. So when you have something good happen, that's not bad for me. I should be celebrating with you. We can all have a piece of that pie. And I think too often women get wrapped up in jealousy or whatever the case may be, but we can all experience those things if we lift each other up and support each other. My win is your win, as long as we support one another. And I think being amongst those women, those just fascinating stories, from all walks of life was just very uplifting and very inspiring and eye-opening about what I needed to do in terms of my relationships with other women.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And
Oh, thank you.
I agree with you 100%, 100 and, triple, quadruple that, because it is so important if we can just get that in our head, that scarcity in
Oh, yeah,
syndrome
that
that a lot
mindset.
of us,
Yeah.
oh my God, we have to know that there is abundance for
Yeah.
everyone, even if it's 1%, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, it's so important, it's just a way for us to continue and to show up every day. Man, I'm just, it just really touched me for you to say that, because that's something that I've been like talking about for ages, for years,
Yeah.
even as a little girl, when I started out, you know, bringing bags of popcorn. I called it a swagman bag. It was like a big bag, and I would fill that bag up with popcorn because kids in the neighborhood who didn't have food, I thought I was able to feed them
Oh,
that way, and it wasn't much. It was just something very small, but at
it
least
doesn't have to
fill
be
their
something
stomach
big.
a little bit, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I think if we just take that one little step towards being more kind
Yeah.
towards one another. Um, for instance, what is it going to take if you share your organization or you share your event and for someone to like it or even share it on their network? And
That's a big help.
it is a big help. And it
Mhm.
takes not a whole lot of time. You
Right.
don't even have to say anything. You can just press the button. Social
Mhm.
media make it so easy today. You press
Yeah.
the button and you share, or you just say like or whatever. So
Yeah.
listen, guys, did you hear what was just said just now? Please consider being more intentional with helping one another. I think that's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're so right.
So, in terms of our last question here, but not our last time being together, you know, at I'm sorry, at WNC Lagniappe, we feel deeply about what you just said. And we believe in creating what matters. What legacy um, are you intentionally building through your work? And what advice would you give to women who lead with both purpose and confidence?
For me, I think I just want to leave the world better than I found it.
Hmm.
It's just that simple. And that doesn't mean I have to do, back to what you were just saying, I don't have to do something grandiose or earth-shattering. But if we all take small steps to do something to make the world better, I mean, think about that collective impact that we can have. That can be something grandiose and absolutely phenomenal
Yeah.
if we all take small steps. So it's kind of that butterfly effect, I guess, that tiny movement in one place that spreads. I just think is so important. It goes back to lifting each other up, to, the community that we build together. And, we're all struggling.
Mm.
Life is rough.
Yes.
And the more that we can support one another through it, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we be here lifting each other up? And that's something I had to learn. I mean, in my 20s, I was very much that woman that, I was jealous of other women, or, if she was thinner than I was or more successful. I mean, but that's very common. I had to learn, I had to teach myself this notion that this isn't a competition. And like I said, good for you is not bad for me. So, yeah, I just want to leave the world better than I found it, whatever that may be, whatever small contribution that is. That's where I'm headed.
Yes. So, also before we close out, let
Mhm.
us know where we can, and thank you so much for sharing your insight, your journey, and
Of course.
your leadership with us today.
Thank you.
How can we find you? What's coming up next on your agenda?
Yeah.
It's exciting. What's happening?
So for the National Kidney Foundation, we have a golf tournament coming up in September. That's September 24th at Magnolia Green. And then in October, we have our Virginia Kidney Walk, which is a fantastic day of community. We're at Bird Park. It's on October 24th. And you can get information about both of those on kidney.org. You just go to the Take Action tab and you can find our walk and our golf tournament. Both of those are fundraising events, of course, because, we're trying to fund a mission with no money, no mission. So, we're out there, the walk is a wonderful day of community, but, it is definitely a day of fundraising. And we would love for everybody to come out and join us, form a team, walk with us. Kidney disease is affecting 37 million people in this country, a million of them right here in Virginia. And 90% of people who have it don't know they have it. So we have got to get the education out there. We've got to get the conversation going about kidney disease because it's taking more lives than breast cancer or prostate cancer, and nobody's talking about it. So I just urge everybody to go to kidney.org, learn about your kidney health, learn about kidney disease. It's affecting you. You just don't know it yet. And come out and see us at the golf tournament. Come out and see us at the kidney walk. We just love for you to join us.
Wow. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.
So let's give Marissa another hand of applause, guys.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for spending time.
So again, thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, your experience with us. At HRichnetworks, we believe every conversation has power to inspire, connect, and to open new doors. And today was a beautiful reminder of that. Thank you for pouring into our community and allowing us to spotlight the amazing work you've done. We appreciate you and we celebrate you. And we're excited to continue cheering you on. This has been Lagniappe Live with Helena, where connections become collaborations, visibility becomes opportunity, and technology becomes your trusted business partner. Until next time, keep shining up. Keep shining up, guys. Keep shining, keep showing up. That's what I was trying to say. Keep showing up and keep creating what matters. Look forward to seeing you next time. So we're gonna
Thank you for spending time with us on Lagniappe Live with Helena, the Business Spotlight. We go live Wednesdays at noon, and we'd love for you to meet us there. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you never miss a spotlight, and join our Facebook community, where the conversation continues, connections are made, and support shows up in real time. If today's conversation resonated with you, we'd love to stay connected. Please share it with someone who needs to hear it, or come back and watch the replay. This is a community, and there's always room for you here. Until next time, keep showing up, standing out, and doing what you do best.